Penguin Random House Audio presents Growing Up Ethnic in America, contemporary fiction about learning to be American. Edited by Maria Mazziotti Gillan and Jennifer Gillan. Read for you by Sumeet Bharati, Richard Brewer, Gabrielle de Cuir, Pamela de Vanessa Hart, Roxanne Hernandez, Carrie Hight, Allyson Johnson, Hayden Lee, Donald Lopez, Andre Montgomery, Connie Mustang, Scott Peterson, Moira Quirk, Lorna Raver, Stefan Rudnicki, Cheryl Stern, Janine Tang, Deirdre Uchiyamada, Jennifer Van Dyke, and Myron E. Willis.
Introduction by Jennifer Gillan. Read by Gabrielle de Cuir.
Growing up on the Spokane Reservation, Sherman Alexie learned to measure himself by the boundaries of a 13-inch television screen, proclaiming himself to be a Brady Bunch Indian. For Sandra Cisneros, it was a 3-foot Barbie doll that loomed menacingly behind her in every mirror, the doll's hourglass figure and shimmering whiteness helping to shape Cisneros' own brown face into an unacceptable distortion. For Gary Soto, it was TV's Cleaver family, with their 2-story house and finely manicured lawn, that haunted his daydreams and reminded him of just how unusual it was in the 1960s to eat burritos for dinner. What Alexie, Cisneros, and Soto have in common is the dislocation and distortion that can accompany growing up ethnic in America. What they also share is a determination to write stories that challenge those images so that the next generation of children can grow up secure in the knowledge that there are many shades and shapes of American faces, many ways to be American. We have tried to capture this variety of American experience in our selections. We hope that the stories included in Growing Up Ethnic in America chronicle how the definitions of what it means to be American are changing. While several of the authors featured in the anthology write about their complicated and often failed attempts at assimilation, others tell of gaining strength from the preservation of their ethnic communities. Some recall the alienation they felt growing up. Others look back on their childhoods and realize that it was their difference from the norm that helped them to succeed. Most of all, the works in this collection testify to the profound effect ethnic differences have on personal and communal understandings of America and the diversity that is the source of the nation's great discord and its infinite promise. Our attempt to chronicle this diversity continues the project we began with Unsettling America, an anthology of contemporary, multicultural American poetry. Those readers who enjoyed Unsettling America, and those who shared it with their students, have asked often for a companion volume of prose selections. As in our first anthology, we chose writing that deals directly and unflinchingly with the complicated terrain of race and ethnicity in the United States, hoping to suggest that what constitutes American identity is far from settled. In order to open a new space for cross-cultural conversations, we organized the stories so that they spoke to each other across ethnic differences and community conflicts. The sections into which the book is divided are intended to encourage rather than to stifle dialogue. Obviously, many of the pieces could easily have been placed elsewhere. Yet through our section groupings, we have tried to suggest the stages involved in claiming one's American identity. The attempts to imitate and embody American types under the heading Performing, the various border crossings one undertakes in Crossing, the sacrifices and exchanges made in order to balance one's multiple cultural allegiances in Negotiating, and the attempts to reestablish connections with communities from which one may have withdrawn in bridging. While the selections in Growing Up Ethnic in America all are concerned in some way with re-envisioning American identity, many of the writers also chronicle their personal confrontations with American stereotypes and recall how their childhood years were shaped by particular media images and icons. Humorously and poignantly, the contributors to this collection describe how they have performed and imitated these American identities. As a nation of immigrants, Americans have always had to invent an identity and a common past for themselves. This search for the essence of Americanness continues, even though the actual diversity of our national population prohibits such uniformity. Unfortunately, instead of accepting this diversity as healthy and the lack of static cultural definitions as enabling, Americans have often fought bitter battles over what it means to be American and who exactly gets to qualify under the umbrella term. The average American, depicted in the media as blandly middle class, has been represented by such TV families as the Cleavers and the Bradys. Certainly, most Americans, even those who fit the assumed average American racial and class profile, middle class, white, Anglo-Saxon Protestants, have measured themselves against these kinds of families and found their own wanting. Clearly, apart from media fiction, the perfectly well-adjusted mainstream American does not exist. Yet the Americanness of immigrants, African Americans, and Native American Indians is often assessed in terms of the degree to which they resemble the fictional composite. Of course, embodying that figure is impossible, but that hasn't stopped people from trying. The irony is that while generations of Americans have been frustrated at their failure to resemble icons such as John Wayne and Marilyn Monroe, even Marion Morrison and Norma Jean Baker, the real-life counterparts to those public personas, could not measure up to their screen images. Not aware of such ironies, the narrator of Gary Soto's humorous story, Looking for Work, sincerely believes that TV families, such as the Andersons of Father Knows Best fame, are the norm. He is frustrated that his family won't even try to be like the families on TV. He pleads with them to at least wear shoes to dinner. His brother responds by donning swim trunks, and his sister by swearing during their next family meal. His family's inability to see the important relation between looking like Americans and being liked by Americans baffles the boy. Commenting on this correlation between appearance and success, Bebe Moore Campbell explores the impact such a mythology has on poor children. The narrator in her story, The Best Deal in America, develops an uncontrollable urge to decorate her life with shiny new things. When she test drives a new sports car, she even imagines herself to be playing the Diana Ross part in the film Mahogany. In E.L. Doctorow's The Writer in the Family, such role-playing is forced on Jonathan, the story's narrator. When his father dies suddenly, Jonathan is asked by his aunt to compose fictional letters to his ailing grandmother in which he pretends not only that he is his father, but that the whole family has moved to Arizona for health and business reasons. These fictional letters convince Jonathan's grandmother that her son, who was in actuality just a salesman who never even left New York City, has finally made it in the business world. After writing several letters, Jonathan also sees his father from a different perspective. Gradually, he understands his father's frustrations about his lack of success, and how that disappointment was connected to the icons against which he measured himself. On another level, Doctorow's story is about the way
Sample complete. Ready to continue?